YouTubers, Max18363 here, and this is part 4 of my F.E.A.R extraction point narrated playthrough.
Up here! You got more of those freaks heading your way.
The target is heading your way. Watch.
Get in the building. I'll meet you on the other side.
So for the next level or two, we do actually get a little bit of backup from Halliday. Not quite so much in this level, but you know, he appears very briefly to sort of help us out with some of the firefights. So this is probably one of the few parts of the F.E.A.R saga where we're actually not completely on our tods. In the original F.E.A.R, of course, you were pretty much a one-man army on your own all the time, basically. Occasionally linking up with a civilian that you'd have to escort, like Alice Wade or Aldous Bishop, but they were very brief sequences, and in the very rare occasions you linked up with teammates, it was usually just to progress the storyline on a bit, and then they would sort of send you off on your own, but you never got involved in any sort of combat with teammates. So this is another thing that Extraction Point improves upon, in the sense that you do briefly get to fight alongside some allies, which is kind of a nice touch. And it's actually, I think, a pretty good sequence.
Man, you really pissed these guys off.
So yeah, I definitely approve. Of course, as I said in previous vids, it also improves upon the combat as well to a point at certain points in the game, in the sense that environments are generally a bit more open, a bit more interesting, a lot more ways to flank and be flanked. AI seem to have a bit more options open to them, or have more options open to them.
It's me. I can't make lunch today. Oh, shit.
And of course, as I've already mentioned, there's some teammates and stuff. So yeah, it's rather nice. The slow-mo on that first guy. Went into slow-mo and then realised I didn't actually have a line of sight, so I was like, ah, folk. Sometimes these things happen. And another kind of little thing that I F.E.A.R Extraction Point kind of improved upon, just a few moments ago we came across a little voicemail message there, but generally speaking, that was quite a predominant feature in F.E.A.R, coming across voicemails and retrieving info from laptops and stuff like that, and that was kind of one of the clumsy ways that F.E.A.R had of telling the story. That is pretty much done away with in this game. I mean, there are occasional voicemails and stuff to pick up, but they're very, very rare, very infrequent, and for the most part they've been kind of done away with, which to be honest I kind of like, because, I don't know, I just felt it was, like I say, it was just a rather iffy way of telling a story, and most of the time it wasn't even saying anything. Then that's not really saying a great deal, as Extraction Point, you could say maybe one of the slight drawbacks is that it doesn't really have a great deal of story, at least not for the first, I don't know, sort of first third or first half of the game. It doesn't really have much in the way of storyline, and a few things that do happen make absolutely no sense, like why is F.E.A.R still alive? Why is Alma helping us? Or at least I kind of get the impression that Alma helps us. We get further evidence of that once we kind of hit the subway section of the game a bit later on. These things are not really explained, so yes, there's things that have been improved upon in the formula, but that's maybe one of the step backs that they take. The storyline is a bit non-existent at times, but then I don't know. Can you really expect too much considering that it is an expansion pack? It's kind of a minor thing. I mean, things do get a lot more interesting story-wise as we get further into it. Especially towards the end, I believe. I've been told things definitely get interesting, or complex, shall we say. So that'll be interesting. I mean, I can't really speculate too much on that at the moment because, as I've said before, I haven't actually played the second half of the game, so I'll be kind of semi-blind by the time we get there. I'll maybe give it a one playthrough before I actually try to record it, just to kind of give myself a wee chance. As I've explained before, previous time I tried to play Extraction Point, my hard drive died on me, so I lost all my save games, and I just kind of never got round to playing it again until now, obviously. So the last sort of stages of the game, I don't really know what happens, so we'll kind of deal with that when we get there. So that should be fun in games. And another thing that I would have to say about Extraction Point as well is that, generally speaking, I think the difficulty has been upped a little bit. They seem, I mean, this is only on a normal difficulty. I generally just play games on kind of normal difficulties. That's I'm not really. Couldn't shoot for shit there. Bad shooting, like. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm not really an overly sort of masochistic gamer. Normal difficulty kind of just does me fine. This is just its default kind of difficulty, and the damage that the enemies deal is definitely increased from playing on the default setting in the first F.E.A.R. And just generally speaking, like I've said, the AI have more options, and just they seem to be a little tougher. So the difficulty has definitely been amped for this expansion pack, which could be used as a compromise in the sense that expansion packs are generally shorter. Yes, I knew those two guys were going to be there. That's why I held back there to let my slow-mo recharge. Have a fun shotgun run. But like I say, this is kind of one of my observations recently, in the sense that games are generally getting a bit shorter in length. So sometimes I think as a compromise, because their games are shorter, as a compromise developers try to compensate for that by making the game difficulty generally a little higher. Now there's a small little clue that Alma's maybe helping us. She apparently just kind of opened that shutter for us that was previously closed.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's Holiday. How'd you get away?
I'm not Alice Wade.
Find someplace safe. I'll make my way to you.
The replicas are everywhere. They're using the subways.
Oh, took you on a little ride, did they?
that.
There, of course, the reference to the subways. We visit that section later on. It's kind of cool. I've kind of lost my train of thought there. Yes, game difficulties. And so, yeah, as a way to try and compensate for games being a little shorter, sometimes developers try to just generally increase the difficulty. A good example that I came across, Medal of Honor, European Assault, I think it was. I mean, that only had about 11 levels, but it was infuriatingly difficult.
We're both still in one piece. I thought for
On
sure you
occasions.
did. There's still time for that, I guess. Get in the building. I'll meet you on the other side.
And of course, extraction point being shorter, difficulties increased. Can be some dramatic in-game music. Sounds a little corny if you ask me, but hey ho. Now, as for whether the increased difficulty is a good thing or a bad thing in terms of extraction point, at present a little undecided, but I would say all in all probably a good thing. Keeps it challenging, I suppose. Just takes a bit of adjusting. I mean, you're so used to playing the original F.E.A.R. It does take a bit of adjusting to sort of start playing extraction point and realise that you're taking a lot more damage on what's supposedly the same difficulty level. But you get used to it. Keeps you on your toes. So all in all, yeah, I would say that's probably another improvement as well. Although I dread to think what this game would be like on extreme difficulty. There are of course 4 difficulties: low, normal, which I'm playing on at the moment, hard mode, and then extreme mode. I shudder to think what it would be like on extreme. I really do. It actually sends a shiver down my spine. But I will not be attempting that. I'm just simply not hardcore enough.
We're gonna cut through these buildings. I'll meet you at the south warehouse, half a click from here.
Okay, so this level is simply gigantic. I think all in all I've clocked in at about 33 minutes footage, so it'll be done in 2 parts. This, of course, the first part of this level. The second part will be up shortly, the next few days, I guess. the next part, things are, in terms of firefights, things are really going to heat up in the next level. We get into some really quite intense firefights. It was very challenging trying to get through it, but it was also great fun. I'm actually quite busy over the next few days, so it will be a few days before the next part appears, but it will be up. It's basically a kind of siege, kind of stay alive until the bell rings kind of thing, and there's this shitloads of replicas, but we do get a new toy to play with that wasn't in the original F.E.A.R. This is kind of one of the new gadgets that we get to play with, which I won't spoil for you right now, but we do get a new toy to play with to help us overwhelm the ridiculous odds, and it's good fun, happy times. So that's kind of it for this part, so till the next time, yeah, behave yourself.